Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the soul of excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
I also asked about the Gulf countries being hit. He said they're doing unbelievable and they're fighting. They, meaning Iran, made a terrible mistake when they attacked them. The UAE is freezing the assets, and they have the assets, all of them, and they got hit enough where they were going to freeze them. They're brave people. Region. I asked about rising gas prices, and he said that's all right. It'll be short term. It'll go way down very quickly. And I said, well, they're pretty high now. And he said, no, they're not. They're up a little bit, not much, but it'll drop to record lows. And so I asked, well, does this mean that you're going to figure out the Strait of Hormuz soon? Again, something you were just talking about. He said, quote, it's already figured out. We've knocked their Navy because, you know, when you knock out the Navy, they can't do what they wanted to be able to do. The Navy is almost, he said, we just hit the 25 mark. Can you imagine that? Big ones. 25 ships are down. We're doing very well. And John,
of course, Dana Bash from CNN is talking about an interview that she did with President Donald Trump. Welcome, my friends, to the Can't Believe It Again. It's already Friday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media, the fastest week in American broadcasting. Goes by so quick. Here we are again at Friday. Listen, we're going to spend some time with Iran and the Wawa. But there are other things happening out there that I want to touch on as well. So we're going to try to squeeze it all in. Carlos, let us begin. We already cleared Dana Bash and her interview with President Donald Trump. Let us go to cut one. Keep the music. It'll accompany this headlining news report. That we go from? Yes.
Well, what seemed like a no-brainer on the House floor yesterday,
yes.
a resolution reaffirming that Iran remains the largest state sponsor of terrorism, only 9 lines long. But as Iran's regime is trying to kill our troops in the Middle East, 53 Democrats voted against it. That is a stark contrast to just 3 years ago, when under President Joe Biden, the very same resolution passed 420-1. Ben.
Well, it was my own congressman for his sins. Don Beyer was first on your list there, and I'm pretty pissed off about that. Look, this is the easiest vote in the world. It's just a factual statement. It's saying that Iran is the greatest state sponsor of terror, and because of that, of course, there are certain things that follow, and the Democrats are uncomfortable with the things that follow, namely that America should be doing what it can to take a regime that is at its weakest moment, that has seen its proxies absolutely defeated across the region, to go after them in a way that, quite frankly, the American military has been preparing for a very long time.
Yeah, I don't understand why, with all of that going on and the opportunity militaristically to hit Iran at this moment, anybody would want to make us weaker on the flip side of that. What is up with that with Democrats?
You know, I think that this is, I don't know this Democratic Party, if they still have any kind of muscle memory for the moments that they had in the past, that you and I saw here on Capitol Hill in the wake of 9/11 and during the height of the fears regarding terrorism in the past, when you could see people who disagreed about so many things domestically, but could link arms when it came to the threats that were around the world. That is no longer the case. I think it's the fact that the Democratic Party no longer has true moderates in it. The people who are branded as moderates, they turn out to be Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. The people who are, presenting themselves that way, they just don't have any leg to stand on anymore.
53 Democrats raised the Ayatollah's flag, pretty much, the former Ayatollah. He is no more. But you have the Democrats sticking with him. In fact, by the way, I saw a poster for a vigil that is being held, a vigil for the late Ayatollah Khomeini in Washington Square Park in New York. They're having a vigil for Ayatollah Khomeini, the late one. A vigil. Probably candlelights, probably a lot of singing. Whatever. These are the Democrats. You point me to an enemy of America in the Democrat Party, many of them will be siding right with them. They actually are. They don't care that you know. In fact, there's a story out about Mondami's wife. Apparently, let me find it because I printed it up. Mondami's wife, apparently, either on social media, here it is. Mondami's stunning response, you can find it in the Daily BS, as wife's pro-October 7th likes spark outrage. Fresh controversy erupted at City Hall Friday after a report claimed that the wife of New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani had engaged with social media posts that appeared to celebrate Hamas' brutal October 7th terror assault on Israel. The explosive claim quickly followed Mamdani into a press conference. Reporters pressed the mayor to respond. When pressed directly, the mayor leaned heavily on distancing himself from his wife's online activity. He distanced himself from his wife. In a way, my wife is the love of my life, and she's also a private person who has held no formal position on my campaign or in my city hall, he said. So he didn't deny it. He didn't say, oh, this is bad, this is terrible. Yeah, look, my wife's a private person. If she wants to tweet things in support of the terrorists, that's her business. Leave her alone. She's the love of my life. Okay? Where things are. Now, quickly, I want to move through this stuff fairly quickly. Excuse me, folks, if we jump around from one thing to the other quickly. Cut number 12. Whoa, no, wrong one. That's the wrong AOC. We got two AOCs here. Cut number 6. Here is AOC Congresswoman, one of the 53 who voted to stand with the Ayatollah.
What's your message to Americans who think that the bombing of Iran was in some way sort of intended to distract Americans from the Epstein files?
Well, listen, I think we're seeing this pattern, right? Trump has impulsively went in on Venezuela. He impulsively went in on Iran. There was no exit and no end game for either of these situations. It led to increased global instability everywhere he goes, and every time he's done that, it has been consistent with a spike or a revelation in what is happening with the Epstein files. I don't think that coincidence is something to dismiss off the cuff. I think that he feels existentially tied to it, and I actually think that it is one reason that he must be removed from office, because if the Epstein files has such a hold on President Trump and this administration that they are willing to plunge us and risk world war in order to save themselves politically, that is a person, the definition of someone that cannot make objective decisions for the American people.
Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time with idiocy, because that is what we're hearing, okay? And by the way, for all you Democrats with this endless Epstein file business, I want you to just please shut up. I don't really want to hear it anymore. You know why? Yesterday, there was a chance in the House of Representatives to uncover. This is Epstein files. What do they always say? Oh, it's about the victims. It's about the victims. It's about the victims. It's about the victims. All right, yesterday, we had a chance in the House of Representatives to, and AOC is one of them. It's all about the victims. All about, in fact, let's play the other AOC right now. Didn't lose my place. I'm going to get back to Iran. But this changes gears for a moment. Let's play the other AOC cut that we have right now, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be cut here. Here it is. Here it is. Here
don't care about who's caught up in the Epstein stuff. I could not care less. If you are implicated in it, if you are caught up in it, there are a lot of people who are victims, and there needs to be justice in these situations. Like, release it all. Release it all.
All right, so yesterday the House had a chance to release it all, except not Epstein files. You know what they had a chance to release it all about? The files of their own alleged misconduct that the taxpayers have been paying for. The taxpayers of the United States have paid out $17 million to settle claims of sexual improprieties. Except we don't know who the Congress people are that are involved in this that you've had to pay for. And guess who voted against it? Guess who voted against releasing it all? AOC among the Democrats, and there were Republicans too, who voted to keep it secret. Hakeem Jeffries, New York, was axed, the Libonics there, in the House of Representatives, walking down the hall about it, cut 9. This is what Hakeem had to say.
Leader Jeffries, you were talking about Congress being good stewards of the taxpayer dollar, but Nancy Mace is highlighting a $17 million taxpayer-funded slush fund for settling congressional harassment charges. Why did you and most Democrats, there was 357 total, that voted to keep these records buried?
Well, House Republican leaders moved to refer the matter to the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee is bipartisan in nature and concluded that that was the appropriate venue to work through these issues. And if there's systematic reform that's necessary, I'll fully support it.
The Ethics Committee buries this stuff. It's both sides covering Congress behind. And they know it. Representative Luna call them out. Cut 10 on this very notion. Here she is.
All right. I support Representative Mace's subpoena here, as well as the amendment to it. And I just think it's really disgusting how this institution protects itself, because y'all just half of them voted to send this stuff to House Ethics, where you know it's going to die. We know that members of Congress are using taxpayer dollars to pay off sexual harassment. We just had a member of Congress literally sexually harass a woman that then lit herself on fire, and you guys all protected him. You guys all protected my own side, your side. And so if you guys want to talk about victims, if you want to go out and virtue signal, and then you guys are going to kill her stuff on the floor and then try to pass it. Yeah, of course, we should subpoena all of this stuff. But just, I'm not going to sit here and play games. I think it's a complete fraud. I think that's why the American people hate us. I think the midterms are coming up, and everyone should go on record for this. And I hope that members are exposed for this. I hope it goes back, I think, to the 70s, because it's wrong that it's happening. It's wrong that we cover up for it. It's wrong that we can't censure our own side because people are busy making deals because you guys don't want to censure your side. It's a deal that's been cut, and people hate us for it. So, yeah, I support it.
Thank you, Representative. Chair recognizes Mr. Biggs.
Chair, let's get out of this. Let's move on. And that's Cohen. I like him. Now, what's the point about Iran? We're going to get to it after the break. The point is, this is not about the Epstein files. And it's being laid clear. The actions in both Venezuela and Iran are linked. And we have been talking about that for a while. There's a news story today that actually makes that point. But let's take a break first so we have time to get to it. James Golden, Snerdley, don't go away. A lot more.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Okay, as I mentioned, folks, all of this ignorance that is being spread. Oh, Trump went in there, Venezuela and Iran because the Epstein files. There's this spike. Nobody gives a rat's you-know-what about the Epstein files when it comes to these matters, period. Here's a story today, broke with shadow fleet under fire. Iran's Strait shutdown could squeeze Russia's war chest, China's oil lifeline. So two things. Russia and their war chest, the funding for the Ukraine war, and their ability to wage war, because that funding, some of it is coming from oil, and China's lifeline. What does that mean? So, the Iranian regime has declared the Strait of Hormuz closed. A shadow fleet, a fleet that operates in the dark, against all the sanctions that have come with Iran, has been transporting oil to both Russia, China, Cuba, and all of these countries now. And Venezuela plays a role in this as well, because China has been obtaining a lot of their energy needs from Venezuela. And what has Donald Trump done? He has choked off the alliance, by the way. Russia and China, not reported here widely, have an alliance. And they said they were teaming up pretty much to pose a counter to the United States of America. This was during Trump's first term. And during Biden, they went out, and nobody here, mainstream media didn't pay attention to it at all. Trump is paying attention, and this administration is. And so and what they have done now is put pressure, economic pressure, on both China and Russia at the same time with this move with Iran, as well as taking out one of the biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, which Democrats refuse to sign on to. These are big deals that affect the world going forward, have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Russia, another story. Washington Post, providing Iran with intelligence to help target America's forces. Big story. Why? Because they, too, have been with a Cold War, in a Cold War with us, using Iran as one of their proxies. These are big moves that are occurring. They have nothing to do with Jeffrey freaking Epstein.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Joe Biden made a remark. We don't have it here. I just got it. You know, today they're having Jesse Jackson's funeral right now. I think this thing has been going on for hours. And apparently Joe Biden told attendees at Jesse Jackson's memorial service that they're dumb. He said, and this is a quote, "I'm a hell of a lot smarter than most of you."
If I told you all earlier when I was a kid I had a cleft palate or a club foot, none of you would have laughed. But it's okay to laugh at stuttering. I'm not being critical of you, but think about it. It's the one place where people think you're stupid. Oh, really? I'm a hell of a lot smarter than most of you. But all kidding aside, if I told
Yeah, he's so smart. I let it. We saw. Okay, thanks, Joe. I got another text from a friend of mine telling me Al Sharpton lit it up and the speech is worth watching. I didn't have time to watch it. And yeah, look.
What does it mean he lit it up? It was a funeral.
That he delivered a great, great speech that was very inspiring. And that happens at funerals. Look, all, political stuff aside, Al Sharpton lit it up at Michael Jackson's funeral. I was applauding Al Sharpton at Jesse Jackson's funeral. Al lit it up at Michael Jackson's funeral. That's what I mean. Michael Jackson's funeral. I remember Michael he talked to Michael Jackson's kids during the part of the speech, and he said something to the effect of, there are a lot of people out here that tell you that your daddy was weird, and he just told those kids how incredible, what an incredible performer, incredible man. It was very inspiring from old Reverend Al. Don't have to agree with everybody to admit that they can do a good job at a speech sometimes. I'll hear it. Okay. I'm going to put the rest of the Iran stack, and we have more until the morning. God willing, we are back tomorrow morning, because I want to move on to something else that is very, very, very important. That would be, callers, please line up and be ready to fire in our arsenal of audio. The arsenal of audio. Please be ready to fire number 15 from the governor of California.
What's the SAVE Act? That's not about ID. It's about registration. It's about who gets to vote, who doesn't get to vote. They are not screwing around. We will lose this country. But first, we cannot lose our minds over this shock and awe.
Okay. We're going to lose the country if the SAVE Act passes. I want you to think about that very, very, very closely. We are going to lose the country. Play it one more time, Carlos. Play that one more time, please.
What's the SAVE Act? That's not about ID. It's about registration. It's about who gets to vote, who doesn't get to vote. They are not screwing around. We will lose this country. But first, we cannot lose our minds over this shock and awe.
All right. You know what? Guess what? He's right. He's right. Everything he said there is right from their perspective. We will lose the country. Who is he talking about? He's not talking about Americans. He's talking about Democrats. This is about who can vote and who can't vote. He's right. This is about us saying that only American citizens should vote and who can't vote. So if this, and he's right, because this is about who can vote and who can't vote. People with a valid identification can vote. If they are confirmed American citizens, they can vote. If they don't have that, then they can't vote. And so what is he really saying? He's saying to Democrats what we all know. We, liberals, will lose the country if we can't continue to operate where people don't have to prove who they are to vote. Now, story out of California today. California voter ID initiative clears signature threshold, setting up November showdown with Newsom. A petition has been circulating in California, ladies and gentlemen. that would only allow United States of American citizens to vote. And it has gained well over the 875,000 signatures it needs to be on California's referendum ballot in November. According to Reform California, a nonpartisan political activism group, organizers submitted the California Voter ID Initiative petition to county authorities with 1.3 million signatures. So it looks like it should be on the ballot. The group that submitted this ballot said it has bipartisan support in California. Across every one of the 58 counties in California, 71% of Californians, according to polling, are in favor of showing ID at the polls. Polling overwhelmingly shows a supermajority consensus for voter ID requirements, said State Assembly member Carl DeMaio, a Republican who serves as the chair of Reform California. Nearly half of the 1.3 million signatures from California to put this on in their constitution came from Democrats. Half of the 1.3 million came from Democrats. But who do you have opposed to it? The ACLU. Julia Gomez, senior staff attorney, said this is about advancing Trump's agenda to sow chaos in our elections and keep eligible Californians from voting. Really? Sow chaos in the elections by making sure that people have to prove their identity before they vote. The ACLU Northern California executive. The initiative isn't about election security. It's about erecting barriers that will keep eligible Californians from exiting. No, it's not. This is about making sure that people, you know what it's about. You have to be a citizen to vote. And half the Democrats, half of this ballot signatures came from Democrats. This would, if this is accepted in November by the voters, it goes into the state constitution, and now you have to show your ID in California. And what is Gavin Newsom saying about it? I'll tell you what, let's listen to Gavin Newsom one more time, followed by cut 16.
What's the SAVE Act? That's not about ID. It's about registration. It's about who gets to vote, who doesn't get to vote. They are not screwing around. We will lose this country. But first, we cannot lose our minds over this shock and awe.
In response to someone talked about it, and I hate when nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, give me a break. So as it relates to that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Nothing I hate more than just sit there and lie to you while we all roll our eyes and say, give me a break. Gavin, give us a break. This is not about anything but holding on to Democrat power that is now threatened. Now, we have Mark Wayne Mullen asked about Kristi Noem. Kristi's still taking a lot of heat today. Do I want to do it in the time we have left? No. I'll get to Kristi in the morning. God willing, we're back from it. What I want to do is get to another hearing that was held in Congress from the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Brian Mast was chairing it, and Sarah B. Rogers was testifying. For a minute, I thought Ms. Rogers was advocating for what she's talking about, and she's not. Ms. Rogers was nominated by what she's telling people was what has been going on at the State Department and what's been going on in foreign affairs with the grants that you and I have been paying for unknowingly. And this is what Brian Mast, I'm setting that up because when you hear this, it's going to be like, what? Is she advocating for this? Listen to the exchange. Brian Mast and Sarah B. Rogers, who's a Deputy Undersecretary State, and what's been going on with grant money and how it's being spent to further our interest overseas.
Can you tell me what is queering the map?
So I think we were trying to make the maps more gay.
Literally?
How
do you make a map more gay?
I mean, especially
or
with
gay
AI,
at all?
You know, since the age of cartography, we've had pretty good maps, but maybe they weren't gay enough. So I know also, I took critical theory in college. I think sometimes people use queer as a verb. I do understand that the maps that we were trying to make gay were, I think, of Czechia and Slovakia. So maybe those countries asked for it. I doubt it, but I don't know.
We do have real things to work on in Congress, like what's going on with the imminent threat of Iran. And it is embarrassing that we have to talk about the fact that things like this were funded. Non-binary and trans francophones, linguistic attitudes and ideologies towards inclusive French in Montreal, Canada, these things. I'm going to give you a list. My time has expired. I'm going to give you a list of these. And any of these that you can provide me the receipt for, the Facebook link to where they wanted to take photos of how they were doing a DEIA flash mob in Kyrgyzstan, whatever documentation they have of all of these things, we would love to see that and would absolutely love to know the individuals specifically that were busy writing these grants, because they have no business receiving another paycheck from the people of the United States of America. In that, I will recognize Representative Schneider.
Yeah, there we go. That's how our money was being spent. They're still uncovering it. State Department spending money to queer maps. To queer the maps. James Golden Snerdley with you here. Whatever you do, keep it right there.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
It's The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush. Now, here's James Golden.
You know, he's almost forgotten now, but this is the day that Nelson Eddy passed away back in 1967. I was a kid. And you don't even hear his name much anymore. But back in the day, Nelson Eddy, at one point, was the highest paid singer in America, which probably meant among at least the highest paid singers in the world. He was an actor as well, a baritone, sang everything, classically trained baritone, and was in the film business. In fact, he earned 3 stars on Hollywood's Walk of Fame, one for film, the other for his recording, and the other for his career in radio. He was just an amazing talent. I asked if we had anything from Nelson Eddy in the library, and we don't. So, I mean, but back in the day, that would have been like, whatever. It's yeah, Nelson Eddy was just one of the greats, and I just wanted to mention that to him. We're going to leave today with some Phil Collins for you, but I also want to talk tomorrow. We're going to have a little bit more time to speak, and the stuff over Ice Barbie is not going away. Daily News had a really, I almost used a really bad word, the S word, S-E, story about Christy. It was really horrible. I mean, you would think she was the worst person in the world. And they talk about how despicable she was. She made a mockery of government. And I'm like, does anybody not remember Mayorkas and what he did to this country that Kristi Noem cleaned up? And that's what she did. Now, I've been a little critical of Kristi Noem, and then I'm getting more criticism, including from Gabe. Sent me a text about Kristi. So hopefully we'll deal with that tomorrow. Phil Collins. In 1990, seems like yesterday, doesn't it, for some of us? Not for you, Carlos, I know. But for some of us, 1990 was like, all right, the day before yesterday. But Seriously came out. And I remember when this album came out. And I say albums because there were still albums. And this, the big lead single was a hit. Went number one on the UK charts immediately. Best-selling album in the UK. Over 2 million, almost 3 million copies there. It sold 4 million in the United States. This was record of the year back then for Phil Collins. We got to go, folks. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your family, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being with me and allowing me to be with you. God willing, we'll be back in the morning, bright and early at 7 a.m. for the extravaganza, your Saturday morning vibe. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.